In the early morning of September 1st, 1939, most of Europe was still asleep. Streets were quiet, shops were closed, children were dreaming, farmers were waiting for the sun to rise, and in a small town in Poland, people had no idea that this would be the last normal morning they would know for many years. Then the sound came. First it was distant, then louder, then unmistakable. The roar of airplanes filled the sky, followed by explosions that shook the ground. Nazi Germany had invaded Poland. World War II had begun. At the center of this moment was one man, Adolf Hitler. Hitler believed Germany had been humiliated after World War I. The Treaty of Versailles had taken land, money, and pride from Germany. Hitler promised to restore German greatness. Millions believed him. They listened to his speeches, filled with anger and hope, and followed him without fully understanding where that path would lead. Hitler didn't just want power, he wanted total control, over land, over people, over history itself. The invasion of Poland was fast and brutal. German forces used a new strategy called blitzkrieg, meaning lightning war. Tanks, planes, and soldiers moved together with terrifying speed. Polish defenses collapsed within weeks. But Poland's fall was only the beginning. Britain and France had promised to protect Poland. When Germany invaded, they declared war on Germany. What started as a regional attack became a global conflict. At first, many people believed the war would be short. They were wrong. Germany turned west next. In 1940, Hitler's army swept through Denmark, Norway, Belgium, the Netherlands, and then France. France, one of Europe's strongest powers, fell in just 6 weeks. Paris was occupied. Nazi flags flew over the Eiffel Tower. Europe watched in shock. It seemed like Hitler could not be stopped. Britain stood alone. Across the English Channel, the British people prepared for invasion. German planes bombed British cities night after night in what became known as the Blitz. London burned. Homes were destroyed. Families slept in underground stations to escape the bombs. Children were sent away to the countryside, separated from their parents, not knowing if they would ever see them again. Yet Britain did not surrender. Prime Minister Winston Churchill spoke to the nation and promised resistance. "We shall never surrender," he said. Those words became a symbol of hope. While Europe was falling into darkness, another nightmare was growing quietly inside Nazi-controlled land. Hitler's hatred of Jews was central to his beliefs. Jews were blamed for Germany's problems, accused of crimes they did not commit. Step by step, laws were passed to remove Jewish rights. Jewish businesses were destroyed. Families were forced from their homes. Then came the camps. At first, concentration camps were used to imprison political enemies, but soon they became something far worse. During the Holocaust, 6 million Jews were murdered. Men, women, children, the elderly, entire families were erased. They were transported in overcrowded trains, starved, beaten, and killed in gas chambers. The world did not fully understand what was happening until it was almost over. When the camps were finally liberated, soldiers who entered them would say they had seen hell on earth. In 1941, the war grew even larger. Hitler made one of the biggest mistakes in history. He invaded the Soviet Union. Breaking a non-aggression pact, Germany attacked with millions of soldiers. At first, the invasion was successful. Soviet cities fell. Millions were killed or captured. But Germany was not prepared for the Russian winter. Soldiers froze. Supplies ran out. The Soviet Union fought back with incredible force and sacrifice. The Eastern Front became the deadliest battlefield in human history. That same year, the war reached the United States. On December 7, 1941, Japan attacked the American naval base at Pearl Harbor. The attack shocked the nation. The next day, the United States declared war. What had been a European conflict was now a true world war. American factories shifted to war production. Soldiers crossed oceans. The balance of power began to change. As the war continued, the cost grew unbearable. Cities were destroyed. Families were broken. Hunger spread. Fear became normal. Yet resistance also grew. Across occupied Europe, ordinary people became fighters. They hid refugees, passed secret messages, sabotaged railways, and risked execution for a chance at freedom. These resistance fighters proved that even under total control, the human spirit could fight back. In 1944, the Allies prepared for the moment that would decide the war in Europe. On June 6th, thousands of ships crossed the English Channel toward the coast of France. It was called D-Day. Soldiers stormed heavily defended beaches under gunfire. Many never made it past the sand, but by the end of the day, the Allies had gained a foothold in Europe.